Robert Emmons of UC Davis is the foremost researcher on the practice of gratitude. He wrote an interesting book on the topic, to which he gave the title, Thanks, which could be a valuable addition to your library. He says that the research shows that when people have a regular gratitude practice, they feel more alert, alive, and awake. Not only that, but they get better sleep, they exercise more, and they have fewer aches and lower blood pressure, they're less lonely and more outgoing and altruistic. On top of that, he found that those who were more grateful during their college careers tended to make more money in years later than those who were ungrateful. I'm not your doctor, and you should check with your healthcare professional before you make any lifestyle changes. And I'm not saying that you'll make more money if you start a gratitude practice, but it's likely that gratitude will work to your advantage. What is a regular gratitude practice? It can take many forms. In the studies at UC Davis and UC Riverside, they usually had participants spend from 5 to 15 minutes of writing down a few things for which they were grateful, usually 1 to 5 times a week. Sonia Lyubomirsky of UC Riverside found that the students who were the subjects doing the gratitude practice multiple times a week felt like they were doing too much work towards the end of the quarter. You know how students are. Those fatigued students got the best results when they did a formal practice just once a week. I think a regular practice of gratitude works for most people like a regular exercise. Any is better than none, and more is generally better. If you feel overwhelmed, do less. Professor Emmons and Lyubomirsky have more erudite explanations of how the process works in the mind, but I like to think of it working in 3 ways. 1, gratitude acknowledges that you have something. 2, gratitude reminds you that you have resources. And 3, gratitude is an act of giving, which increases your self-esteem and sense of salience. What does that mean? If you can give thanks for something, there's something. I'm sure you've encountered people who have spent a lot of energy thinking about what they don't have. You know, I wish I had a house on Pelican Hill. My sister was the smart one. I don't have time to work out. I don't know how to cook healthy meals. I don't have time for a regular gratitude practice. Well, if you don't have time, talent, brains, money, or anything else, you might as well give up and go home now. Don't waste your time trying anything. Suppose those expressions of lack were transformed as part of a gratitude practice. I'm so thankful I got the education that enabled me to read a cookbook and thus teach myself to cook healthy meals. Thank God I have a car that takes me to work when most people in the world don't have a car at all, and some don't have a job to get to. I'm thankful I have talents that can be developed and exploited for more money. I'm thankful I have a place to live when many people don't have the comforts of my home. I don't have much time, but I'm thankful I could find the 5 minutes a day to do some squats and push-ups. When you acknowledge that you have something, you have a platform from which you can leap to better things. If you're thankful that you have 2 healthy legs, which is a blessing that some don't enjoy, then the next step is that you can use those legs to move forward. It gives you something to work with. When you acknowledge you have something, it's the first step to becoming responsible to maintain or improve what you have. If you don't acknowledge that you have something, then you can drift along evaluating what others have done. Gratitude also reminds you that you have resources. Yesterday, I took a break from my routine and I had chilaquiles for breakfast. That's basically nachos with eggs. I added beans and extra salsa for better nutrition. Yesterday, I garnished it with kimchi because I like to try new things and cabbage is good for you. That was also the last time that I'll add kimchi to my chilaquiles. When I was saying grace, which is probably the most common form of gratitude in America, I was aware that farmers and ranchers in California and the Midwest worked so that I could have some breakfast. Some people in New Zealand made some grass-fed cheese that flavored it, and some people in Korea made my garnish, for which I was only a little less grateful. Those farmers, ranchers, and merchants were all sources of goodness that are available to me today as they were yesterday. I had some Vietnamese food for lunch, and to the list of sources, I added some fishermen, cooks, and waiters for which I was grateful. It seems that it takes a lot of people to keep me going. A practice of gratitude helps you increase your sense of connectedness with other people, not to mention with the sun, which gives life energy to everything on earth and whatever God you celebrate. Most people, when they're practicing gratitude, are thankful for the people who have been supportive and generous. This keeps you aware that you have a support network and that you have good things going on. For some, it even improves the relationships with those around them. Finally, giving thanks is an act of giving. When you honor and acknowledge God, people, or nature, you're performing an act of giving. For most, when they give, they feel better about themselves. It improves self-esteem. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is the ultimate act of charity that's selfless, but it's a good start and it's better than a poke in the eye. You'll receive much more when you give thanks for what you receive. Here's how you can start. Sit down with a piece of paper or your computer if you prefer, and counterfactual thinking is a good place to start, particularly if you don't feel particularly grateful. That would be thinking of people who aren't quite as fortunate as you. That would look something like, I'm thankful that I have my health when my cousin has cancer right now. Write those things down, and it's important to feel emotionally grateful when you do it. Then write about a few things that you have for which you're grateful. Then you can write about your gratitude for people in your life who have helped you in some way. Again, it's important that you feel emotionally grateful during the practice. If you prefer to do it another way, that's good too. The important thing is that you spend a few minutes, a few times a week, feeling grateful. Dr. Emmons says gratitude has the power to heal, energize, and change lives. Try it and see what it can do for you. I would like to close with a quote from John E. Southard. The only people with whom you should try to get even are those who have helped you. Thanks.